Hi, welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. And we have a special guest today who's Jess Bellomo from Arch Grants. Now, Arch Grants does do startup funding, but they do it in a unique way, and they're not the only kind of organization of their kind. So let's talk about how startups can use something like Arch Grants to help them get on the right path and into more venture funding. But let's also talk about Arch Grants itself because they are unique to St. Louis and we love them dearly here. So thank you so much for coming here, Jess.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Arch Grants and how this kind of organization fits into the startup ecosystem.
Sure. So, like you said, we are a little bit unique, which I love. We are a nonprofit, so I think that kind of by itself makes us a little bit different. So our model is based off of the idea, the mission that we believe that the best way to improve St. Louis's economic landscape is by supporting and championing extraordinary entrepreneurs, and that waiting for corporate America to come and fix St. Louis is not the solution, and it's never going to happen, even if we wanted it, which I don't know if we even really do. So, with that in mind, we provide equity-free, non-dilutive grants, and then in addition to that funding, an array of services and support resources for our grant recipients. So I'm happy to tell you more details about that, but I think that's kind of the main essence of what we are and our why.
That's good. So definitely in St. Louis, startups should investigate Arch Grants. But if you're not in St. Louis, look for those not-for-profits that also support startup entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
So
of course.
tell me, Jess, what are you guys looking for in an applicant? What's a successful applicant going to have in their portfolio?
Yeah, great question. And I guess I should also, what you just said reminded me to say that even though we do want, and part of our program requires that you are in St. Louis City during your cohort year, you do not have to be a St. Louisan. And about half of our recipients are St. Louisans, and about half come from everywhere else in the world. And for those folks, we offer an additional 25K in relocation funding. So we do want people from everywhere, but we need them to come to St. Louis at least for a year. So
And
with
some
that in
of them
mind,
hopefully will love it here and stay.
yes, that's the idea. Once you're here, you want to stay here, hopefully. So as far as what constitutes a great applicant, what makes you eligible, we do need a for-profit business model and social venture is totally fine, but you do need to be able to show that you can make a profit with your model. We're looking for anything that is like industry agnostic. We are not looking at any one industry, but we do look for tech-enabled products or services. And I know that can be a little bit tricky for some people as far as what do we mean by tech enabled. You don't have to have a piece of technology, that your model doesn't have to be centered around technology. We just need you to at least have an e-commerce platform. If you have a tangible product, you need to be able to show that you can at least sell it online. And then beyond that, kind of dovetailing with that, you have to show that you're scalable. And really, if you have a product, e-commerce is the way to show that you're scalable, I would argue. But if not, just in general, you have to show that you have a plan and a path towards scaling on a national or even international level eventually. And you have to be able to show that you are innovative. So you have to be able to differentiate your product in some way. And then as far as what stage you're at, we're looking at fairly early stage companies. We want you to be at least validated idea stage. So some sort of market validation, customer discovery, you have an MVP, some kind of market research under your belt. All the way up through pre-series A funding, which we define as if you've raised more than 2 or 3 million in capital, then you're starting to be a little too far along for us to consider you. So beyond that, really anybody and everybody is welcome to apply.
Okay, and what do successful applicants get from Arch Grants?
So in addition to the 75K, if you are local, 100K, if you are relocating from outside Missouri or more than 150 miles on the Illinois side. But beyond that money, which is not insignificant, there's a whole array of other services and support that we provide. And I really think that helps with the stickiness of us, and it really helps our cohort want to stay in St. Louis after they're done with their year. And those services include, we have an entrepreneur in residence who is amazing. He's part of our 2012 cohort, is quite successful, and he offers one-on-one office hours. We have quarterly investor forums. If you're currently trying to raise more funds, we are pretty well connected and are happy to get you in front of anybody that we possibly can. And speaking of us being connected, between Arch Grants staff and board and all of our support team, we've got pretty good connections throughout St. Louis and beyond. So just putting you in touch with the right people and getting you in front of the right people, which can often be one of the biggest barriers in this town. We offer monthly social events with our cohorts. You can really get to know your cohort, monthly educational workshops, and any kind of like business operations support referrals that you need, legal as well, accounting, all those sorts of things.
That sounds great. How big is the cohort typically?
Usually it's about 20 companies. That's been historically what we've done. Last year, we did go up to 34 companies. And then this year, we've decided we need to take it back down. So more like 20, 25 companies, but we made that decision since we raised the grant amount so much. It's been 50K historically every year since 2012 when we were founded. So this is the first year we've increased that, and it's a pretty significant increase. So we're going to have to cut down a little bit on our number of recipients, but we think that it's worth it. It's a pretty significant jump, and hopefully one that makes a big impact.
That is great. We're so glad you're here. And what percentage, like how many applications do you get usually? So what's the competition like essentially?
Yeah, good question. It's hard to say exactly, especially since circumstances have changed from year to year over the last few years with how wild the pandemic has made everything. But definitely, we can expect several hundred applicants. Last year we had over 400, so I'm expecting that many or more this year. But we're still early in the process, so we'll see how it lands.
Okay, and applications close April 15th for 2022, correct?
That is correct. Yes, you've got a little more time to get in there, and it's a pretty robust application process. So I wouldn't wait till the last day if it were me. So
now there are folks who have applied for Arch Grants more than once before they get them.
Absolutely.
So that application process is a valuable learning experience. So I highly recommend, if you're a startup, go through it. And once you've applied for an Arch Grant, you've got a lot of the information and the ducks in a row that you need to apply for other kinds of funding.
Yes, exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you need our folks to know out there?
Oh, let's see. Well, I guess this is a good time to note we do have a few special initiatives, even though, like I said, we are welcoming anybody and everybody. So it's an initiative, but I would also say it's really a key part of our mission is to support founders from underrepresented groups. So women-owned, immigrant-owned, veteran-owned, Black-owned, brown-owned, LGBTQ-owned. Those are really, we're trying to particularly support and raise those people up. Beyond that, we have some special initiatives as far as industries go, one for ag food tech and one for geospatial, since those are really big industries in St. Louis that are rapidly growing. So we're really particularly interested in those companies. But if you don't fit into any of those categories, then please don't be discouraged.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jess Bellomo, for joining us today. And I will put the link to apply for an Arch Grant into the comments. This has been Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff. I help get startups ready to present to venture capital faster. Thanks again. And I hope to see you next time for Stuck, Time to Improv.